Bravo video essay is about someone else entirely, someone that I feel Bravo should bring back because she had a complicated life, she inserted tension into the cast dynamic, etc., etc. But first, let me start with a protest vote, a hard protest vote against Britani Bateman. And if you are new to the Salt Lake City franchise, I'm speaking to events that have happened up to and through season 6, episode 9. There are no big spoilers in this essay, but you may be missing context if you have not watched this far. And if that's you, maybe bookmark this essay and come back. So I think the whole plane incident with Meredith and Britani is part of this, and I side with Whitney and Heather's retelling of the plane ride incident. And that happened in season 6, episode 9. And it was between Meredith and Britani. And the reason why I side with this version of events is because it is also Mary and Angie and Britney's recounting of the events as well. And that's different than what Meredith said. Added to this, while Lisa Barlow hypothetically sides with Meredith, Lisa Barlow also appears to confirm the ugliness of the plane event in the car ride home from the airport with John Barlow, meaning that Lisa told John that she didn't think Meredith acted great on that plane ride. And honestly, to me, Meredith has seemed off this season. While I usually associate Meredith Marks with doing something weird or campy, that's kind of her energy, I think season 6, Meredith Marks has had a mean energy that has surprised me and that I don't really love. The reason I mentioned the plane ride incident is because it is feasible to me that this has provided a pivot point for the other women. So the other women on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast. I assume that the other women, Angie, Mary, Whitney, Heather, I feel like they may have lost their passion for hazing Britani Bateman after witnessing the consequences of Meredith punching down on her for a 5-hour plane ride. And I do think Meredith Marks is punching down on Britani Bateman because I think Meredith Marks enjoys a higher social position, both on the show and also in life, which is something she is quick to point out all the time about how Britani can't secure a man, can't keep one, etc., etc. So it makes sense to me that the other women felt bad about witnessing the event and also not really intervening in the event. And here I would say the event is the plane event, also what I'm thinking of as the annihilation of Britani Bateman. And so the other women have this collective guilt and distaste for what happened, and that is metastasized into some support, some thin support for Britani and her endeavors. The problem with this is that Britani doesn't really have any other endeavors. She has a singular focus, and that focus is called Jared / insert any other guy paying attention or not paying attention to Britani. So basically / any guy that Britani is paying attention to. The Salt Lake City cast is as interesting and dynamic of a cast as we've seen across the entire Bravo Real Housewives franchise, and that is saying a lot. The cast of Salt Lake City are a symphony of ideas, emotions, and interests, and Britani insists on just striking one piano key repeatedly. And because of this, it should come as no surprise that her fellow cast, a collection of women that are either successful female entrepreneurs or devoted mothers, or both, find her tendency to only genuinely express a feeling if it has to do with Jared or a man to be off-putting. I am certainly put off, and that's probably because I find fundamentalists of any stripe grating. Fair or not, I assume that fundamentalists are afraid to think for themselves, and I also find the repetitiveness of their thoughts and obsession to be quite boring. And no, I'm not saying she's a fundamentalist because of her connection to the Mormon church, but because of her singular focus on Jared. Like a person that can't be bothered to ask a question or share equally in a conversation, Britani Bateman is hell-bent on talking to us about Jared, whether we care about that topic or not. And even her more interesting storyline, the one about her abandonment of her own kids, is rooted in her relentless pursuit to secure and maintain a man. Obviously, I am aware that women like this exist in the world, and I suppose I'm happy for representation. We always need representation, even of the things that we dismiss. I think you should have to have something more interesting about you than a guy, much less a guy that you don't even date, to qualify as a housewife. There's a lot of people that want that job, and certainly we can find another woman with something more interesting to say than Jared. On that note, I feel like I happen to know for sure that there's at least one other interesting housewife potential in Salt Lake City. She is a single mom with 4 daughters, a difficult mother of her own, an unhappy childhood, a true talent at making fun of Lisa Barlow, and a former Instagram account where she called herself Reality Von Tease. And as a quick aside, fuck Jeff Lewis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he made a snide remark at the 2025 BravoCon about Monica Garcia's food stamps having been frozen in the federal shutdown because, you know, the suffering of your fellow Americans and their children is funny, I guess. Anything for a laugh, I guess, Jeff. Just to get all self-righteous and shit about this, but I couldn't actually make that joke because the idea of it feels too close to home for too many Americans, and it makes me too sad, Jeff. That's why I wouldn't make that joke. Anyways, we don't know, or I don't know, if Monica was directly impacted by the federal government shutdown or not, but we know that Monica did not have the wealth of your typical housewife. And we know this because her house was modest, she had bills that she appeared to worry about, and she also expressed a dismay toward the opulence of some of the other housewives that I think the audience feels and can relate to. While I do have a problem with Monica, and I will get to it, I also don't really care about the Reality Von Tease scandal. I understand why Angie, Heather, Whitney, Lisa, and Meredith would care about the scandal and not particularly want to work with her again, but I don't care about the scandal. There's a part of me that's happy for that scandal while also understanding that it is an enormous violation of their trust. And for the record, I've never looked at Reality Von Tease, but that's likely because they came to Salt Lake City well after the scandal had broken, and I had also already discovered Reddit. So it wasn't like I needed to seek out additional information. But I'm just saying that because I don't think I'm above it. I am absolutely not above it, and I am sure I would have looked if I had known about it at the time. I love the entire missing ring in the bathroom situation, season 4, episode 2, and I have thought about it since I watched it. And I think that there are 2 ways to think about the scene between Monica and Lisa, which is that Lisa is completely tone deaf when it comes to her wealth, and Lisa is also tone deaf to what generally matters most in this world. And likewise, Monica also may have stolen that ring. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought that Monica pocketed the ring, but then someone said it on Reddit, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's an option. I guess I'll just go ahead and repeat it. I mean, the ring rolled away in a fairly small bathroom, and they could never find it. So I have absolutely no idea. I have no strong feeling one way or the other. Also, I'm not sure how much I actually care outside of it providing broader context for wealth inequity in the United States. Why do some people get to own $60,000 rings while other people struggle to secure a car loan? And if you remember, Monica's mom kept stealing her car because Monica had to have her on the loan. So this is the reality. This is the tension that Monica brings to Salt Lake. And I love that tension. I love the way it makes the rest of the cast feel, and specifically how it makes Lisa feel. Additionally, I love the fact that Monica told us that Jen never said a nice thing about Heather Gay, and now she knows why. And I think we all struggle with that. I mean, I can speak for myself at least. I like Heather Gay a lot in certain situations, and then other times I'm like, we don't know Heather Gay. Heather Gay is kind of a bad person. She at least is an inconsistent person, and we see flashes of that. Okay, so now the part about what I didn't like about Monica. Like many other people, I didn't love the reunion. I don't really remember the details because I watched it 8 months ago, but I remember not loving it. And I remember it making me feel conflicted and disappointed about Monica. She seemed untrustworthy, disqualifying, and managed to destroy a lot of goodwill that I think she had built up. But related to that, I also don't quite understand the Monica meltdown in the reunion either. It's hard for me to square away how I liked her so much through the season and then how much I disliked her at the reunion. And because of this dichotomy and my confusion, I would love to have her on for another season. I would love to see if Monica is usually the Monica we saw in the season, or if Monica is more like the cornered animal that we saw during the reunion. And that right there is my argument for why they need to bring her back, because those are just some of the surface level questions I have about Monica Garcia. There are tons of other questions I could ask. There are tons of other things about her life that I'm interested in. For as much as people love to dog on the Real Housewives franchise, part of the reason it's been such a successful franchise for so long is that they have been excellent at casting interesting people. Despite the popular dogma that The Housewives is just trash TV, it is actually an ethnography of some of the richest women to ever exist in the entirety of our known human history during an empire's dying days, which in itself makes it compelling television, but also, shockingly, very relatable. It turns out that the elite class struggles with all the same things that the rest of us do: marriages, kids, parents, friends, reputations, and rejections. For the Housewives to continue to be a successful entertainment piece, they have to continue to cast interesting people with voices and concerns and difficult relationships and successful relationships and just, in general, a life. This week, it was reported that the Speaker of the House is not taking women very seriously, even Republican women. And so the last thing we need right now is Bravo showing us a woman whose singular focus is serving men. There are enough people in the world that already think that should be the focus of women. We don't need Bravo platforming or normalizing that for us. So bring Monica Garcia back. I guess it doesn't have to be Monica, but I wish it would be Monica. And if it can't be Monica Garcia, please cast someone a little more like Monica Garcia and a little less like Britani Bateman. For more video essays about the Housewives, check out this playlist here.